Hey there viewers, today I will be talking to you about international leadership and the factors that influence globalization in today's ever-changing global landscape. First, to begin, let's consider my definition of globalization. Effective global leadership requires that leaders within the organization are competent in their own culture and have a willingness to learn about the cultures they will come in contact with. Leaders must become interculturally competent and work to develop strategic partnerships with other organizations. The effective global leader works to learn as much as they can about the areas they are moving into and already exist within. They must respect and appreciate the differences they will encounter, and be prepared to train others to respect these differences. Lastly, the effective global leader must also understand the legal and human resource implications of becoming involved in other cultures. When considering international leadership, one must consider the challenges involved in creating intercultural competence. The first challenge would be the concept of ethnocentrism. This is when the organization sees itself as superior simply based on its cultural identity. Ethnocentrism exists as a parallel to the accepted cultural norms that the organization exists within. Although not initiated by the company, it is simply a mirror image of society as a whole. The second challenge would be the barrier of communication and language differences. This is not created. It is a simple reality that companies face when looking to expand globally. The differences in communication styles presents a unique and interesting challenge to organizations. The third challenge is that of time recognition. When looking global, the leaders must recognize not only the time zone differences, but how the other culture views time and time management. How time is used and recognized varies from culture to culture. The effective global leader is aware of these differences, and makes his staff aware also. The fourth challenge is that of social policies that exist in both the accepted culture of the organization and that of the other cultures being explored for expansion. Social policies tend to be unwritten, they are just accepted as the norm within the organization. These are difficult to ascertain sometimes, yet are important for effective intercultural competence. The fifth challenge is that of the human resources policies and legal framework of other cultures. An effective global leader must be aware of how other cultures handle human capital. Also, many other cultures don't follow the natural law for legal policy. They are steeped in legal positivism. To be effective, the leader must be attuned to how other cultures view human capital and which legal system they subscribe to. Now that the challenges of globalization have been presented, I will focus on the competencies required to lead organizations through these challenges. The first, and most important competency for a leader to have in dealing with these challenges is to be ethno-relative in his or her approach. An ethno-relative leader sees the inherent differences in cultures but appreciates that strength comes through diversity. The leader that strives for respect and appreciation of cultural differences is well placed in a global organization. The ethno-relative leader will also take a proactive role in training the necessary personnel in intercultural communication. Successful global leaders have teams that take an active part in appreciating the diversity of the organization and police the organization for ethics violations related to cultural differences. Another important competency for global leaders is that of effective communication strategies and solid strategic planning initiatives. For successful expansion in the global marketplace, organizational leaders must have above-average skill in intercultural communication. They must establish firm strategic initiatives that integrate all facets and assets of the company. Lastly, they must be at the forefront of organizational communication and stay involved in the daily operations. The last competency I will cover is that of intercultural awareness and competency. Effective global leaders take the time and initiative to become cultural sponges. They learn all they can about the cultures they are expanding into. They should complete intercultural leadership assessments like the Intercultural Development Inventory to learn how competent they are as an international leader. Now, viewers, we will discuss the final piece of this presentation, by looking at the steps organizations must take to build intercultural competence. First, organizations must develop comprehensive training programs that include cultural immersion and comprehension. These programs should be based upon results of cultural competency assessment tools. Second, the organization should include intercultural communication as a strategic goal and begin measuring it as part of the review process for leaders within the company. Third, leaders should look to hire the best talent from other cultures and become more ethno-relative in their scope. Viewers, it has been my pleasure to share with you today the topic of international leadership. Leadership is a challenge in and of itself, and hopefully I have enlightened you about the process of becoming a more interculturally competent organization. Have a wonderful evening, and good night.